Speaker, the motion is on the need to arrest the incessant killing of people and destruction of property by rival court groups in AWARRA court area of OHAJI EGBEMA local government area of Imo State. The House notes that AWARRA court area is one of the oil-producing communities in Imo State and is host to the largest gas discovery in Africa. We share Petroleum Development Company, Saplat Petroleum Development Company, PLC, and Watersmith Petroleum Oil Company, having acquired about 200 hectares of land preparatory to commencement of full-scale gas gathering projects between now and 2018. House notes also that AWARRA, which comprises 3 electoral wards, namely AWARRA, ASA, and OPIAH, has been caught in the throes of bitter and deadly conflict between 2 rival court groups that has led to loss of lives and destruction of properties, and the conflict has lingered since 2012, as the struggle for supremacy between the court groups has defied all efforts by the security operatives to curb it. Concerned that if the seemingly unending feud between the 2 groups is not contained urgently, it will continue to hamper social, political, and economic activities in the area, particularly the oil exploration and gas exploitation programs of the oil and gas companies on behalf of the federal government, a development that will impact adversely on the economic fortunes of the nation that is running a monolithic economy and has just exited from recession. Determined to ensure an immediate end to the crisis and the attendant loss of lives and destruction of property, House resolves to 1. Commend the security agencies in Imo State for their efforts to curtail the protracted crisis. Urge the government of Imo State to be more proactive towards bringing the court war to an end. 3. Urge the Inspector General of Police and the Chief of Army Staff to deploy more men and resources to strengthen the joint task force in our court area and the entire border communities of OHAJI EGBEMA and Uguta local government areas of Imo State, and to mandate the committees on police affairs, army and national security and intelligence to ensure implementation and report back in 4 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
I remain Mohammed Umar Jaga, representing Alerugondo Jaga Prayer Constituency. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support, to second the motion heavily moved by my honorable colleagues. I so second.
I represent OHAJI EGBEMA, Uguta Oru West Federal Constituency. I'm from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, the motion is about a very peculiar situation, the filing solution in my federal constituency. It's about incessant loss of lives and destruction of property in our court area. Mr. Speaker, the lives being destroyed are also lives of young people who belong to 2 rival court groups, and this conflict has also led to loss of lives of very prominent and innocent citizens of the area. The situation has become so disturbing, Mr. Speaker, disturbing because youthful lives are lost, lives that could be become very important people in our society in the future. It is probable that such lives that we have lost or probably lose again if urgent actions are not further taken could be lives of people who could have been presidents of this country or senators in the future. Mr. Speaker, our court area is comprised of 3 electoral wards, ASA, AWARRA, and OPIAH. And although the area is largely underdeveloped, because even though it is an oil-producing area, it has been heavily marginalized and neglected by both oil companies that operate in the area and the government at all levels. And so, even though it is underdeveloped, the people are very peace-loving and accommodating. Today, the AWARRA court area is playing host to Shell Petroleum Development Company, others, Petroleum, Chevron, and Watersmith. Mr. Speaker, this area is hosting the largest oil gas deposit that has just been discovered, and every effort is on top gear to begin the exploitation of gas in that area. As I speak, Watersmith Petroman Oil has acquired land, Seplat has acquired land, Shell has acquired land in the area preparatory to exploitation of gas. It is unfortunate that this situation is taking place there, and I know that if nothing is done, the crisis in the area will definitely become a major threat to this investment, and the oil and gas is about to become the most important product with the declining popularity of crude oil. It becomes very necessary, Mr. Speaker, that everything has to be done to sanitize the area and make the area conducive enough for investors to come in. This motion, therefore, is very necessary to create peace and bring the court war to an end. I have therefore proposed the resolutions contained in the motion that the Inspector General of Police and the Chief of Army Staff should increase their efforts, deploy more men and resources in the area to ensure that the crisis is brought to an end without further delay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues.
EJ.
My right honorable Speaker and dear colleagues, my name is Honorable EJ Agboanyima, representing the good people of OPIAH Federal Constituency, Edo State. Let me thank the mover of this motion, Honorable Goodluck, OPIAH, because this has to do with our national security. Whether it's in Imo or other part of the country, security, protecting the lives of all Nigerians and properties should be our paramount and optimal priority. Mr. Speaker, the incessant killing of people and destruction across the country, now again in Imo. Mr. Speaker, this motion is a very passionate one that I think this Honorable House should support. Well, there's no other country. If Imo State are going through pain, other part of the nation, whether in Kanu or Lagos or Edo or in Rivers, we all should feel the pain. Whatever affects Imo State, sir, affects all of us. And we should take this issue of killing one another, it is not the right thing to do, Mr. Speaker. I want to appeal to this Honorable House to please support this motion, and also the governor of the state and all the traditional rulers, everybody, every citizen of Imo State have a role to play in curbing the menace of the insecurity in Imo State. Because seeing a crime being committed and failure to report the scene of that crime to the nearest law enforcement agency, Mr. Speaker and dear colleagues, you are as guilty as the man or woman who committed that crime. So I want to appeal to the good people of Imo State that they must do what is right. This Honorable House is here to stand to support all Nigerians. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity given to me and my dear colleagues that will support this motion that have to do with lives and property. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Constituency, Lagos State. I want to support my colleague, Honorable Goodluck, Nana OPIAH, which I consider to be a peace-loving person, peace-loving honorable member of this House. As it concerns its area, whatever happens somewhere else, it can also affect any other place by virtue of extension. And is now calling for the incessant killing, arrest of incessant killing of people in his area, destruction of property by rival courts. If they are rival courts, they should have been identified by now. And I think it's very important for our security operative to identify the leaders of these rival courts. We know that courtesan is illegal, it's a crime anywhere in Nigeria. This has to be arrested. Certain thing has to be done at an appropriate time so that it will not be escalated to somewhere else. And for the fact that it can affect anything in life, both social, economic, and political, there's nowhere where one will not be involved in this area. Whether you are involved as a person directly or indirectly, we must bear in mind that we are all human beings, and the welfare and security of people is very important to us. Therefore, I support this motion wholeheartedly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I put the question. Okay, there's an amendment here from Honorable Rita OHAJI.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and distinguished amendments to the bill as follows, sir. Is additional prayer that the Inspector General of Police to urgently create a standard and well-equipped divisional police station in AWARRA court area and urge the National Emergency Management Agency to provide emergency relief materials to the affected people of AWARRA, OPIAH, and ASA communities that has been displaced by these cultist activities. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Whatever Chike Okoth.
Arise to second that amendment moved by Honorable Rita OHAJI. I so second that
amendment. Or is it the two amendments we took at once? So we've taken the two amendments. Lucky you. So I'll put the question. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it.
Which federal constituency is the only oil-producing federal constituency in Imo State, and for that matter, is a very critical stakeholder in this country. And like the other parts of Niger Delta, the youths in the federal constituency that I represent also engage in all manner of militancy and restive activities, most of them associated with cultism. In this particular case, a section of my federal constituency known as AWARRA court area, and which is made up of 3 electoral wards, namely AWARRA, OPIAH, and ASA, have been embroiled in this court war, resulting in loss of lives of young people and even the elderly alike, resulting in destruction of property. And in fact, as I speak to you, a lot of indigents of the area have evacuated from that community. The security agencies, the leaders of thought, the concerned persons from the area and from the states have done so much to bring that situation under control, but to no avail. And this has continued unabated since the year 2012. It became a source of concern, a source of worry, and a major issue in Imo, and in fact in Nigeria. I brought up that motion on the floor of the House, first to commend the security agencies, especially the Army and Nigerian Police, and even the Civil Defense Corps, for their efforts in putting the situation under control. Unfortunately, we're not there yet. The problem is still there on a daily basis. People are beheaded, people are killed, there is always conflict. And so that motion was a call for the security agencies to intensify efforts in ensuring that peace was brought to the area. I also used that motion to bring to the fore the fact that the area, even though an oil producing area, is grossly underdeveloped due to lack of attention, lack of concern by the government at all levels, state, federal, and local government, and even the oil producing areas, because that area is a major oil producing area. And so the problem in the area is the problem in Nigeria, because today oil is the major source of revenue for the country. A crisis in an oil-producing area is a problem to oil production in Nigeria. So the prayers were about 5 in all. Major of it is that the place requires a police station, standard police station, well equipped to become a major base for management of crisis and, of course, proactive maintenance of peace and law and order. We also prayed the House to compel the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to supply relief materials to the affected people in Asa, AWARRA, and the OPIAH area, so they can have succor, and also find means of rebuilding the destroyed properties around the area. The other worrisome aspect of the crisis in the area is the fact that today, as I speak, our court area is playing host to about 3 major oil producing companies, namely Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria, Seplat Oil Producing Company, Nigerian PLC, and Watersmith Petroleum Oil Company Limited, all in the area. Today, there is a major find, a major discovery in gas in Asa, and in fact, it is the biggest in Africa. And the preparation is in top gear by Shell and Seplat to start exploiting those products from the area. So the area requires a conducive environment for investors. It requires peace to reign. It requires a convivial atmosphere for both the indigenous and visitors alike. So the call became very important at this point in time. The Niger Delta Institute of Technology and Skill Acquisition is also a youth-based bill because the institution is basically for the development of the youth, is for the empowerment of the youth, is for youth skills acquisition. The bill is about the development of institutional framework for entrepreneurial base for the young people. The institution will utilize the available talents of the young people in the Niger Delta area and in Nigeria in general. Is an institution that I hope will be in a position to even retrain our teeming unemployed youths. Most of them are graduates, and make them more useful and more usable to the society. It will ensure that we begin to look homewards for training of young people. Our experience in the amnesty program of Niger Delta, where a lot of young people were sent abroad for training all over the world, South Africa, Canada, America, United Kingdom, and everywhere in Europe, was, for me, a major drain on our national economy. I think that if we have an institution such as the one we are envisaging, it will become a place to train our young people and give them quality skill, and make them employers of labor rather than seekers of employment. You know, today, if you are building a house, for instance, if you need a good painter or a good tiler or a medicine or a carpenter or even a welder, you'll be looking at maybe Togo, Benin Republic, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and so on and so forth. This is what this institution is intended to produce: high-quality craftsmen, high-quality technicians, high-quality middle-level manpower that can manage our home and industrial facilities. The beauty of that bill is that an infrastructure is already in place in EGBEMA, built by the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, that the school can take up from, and is a call on government and even our politicians to make good use of such infrastructure in their areas. That infrastructure is intended to be built in all the 9 member states of Niger Delta. It is my own idea of making efficient and effective use of the one we have in EGBEMA. And I thank God and I thank Mr. Speaker, the leadership of the House, and my colleagues, honorable members, for giving me support to ensure that that bill passed through the second reading. Is with the committee now. We're also in touch with the committee to ensure that it's given speedy attention with a view to bringing this thing to reality. The people of Niger Delta and the people of my federal constituency are so appreciative of the initiative. Every day I get calls and commendations. Last weekend I had a series of delegations from my federal constituency coming on a thank you visit for that bill and all the other things we have been doing here for our people. And so I am sure that is an institution that is badly needed in our area. It come along with some economic and social benefits. And like we just said, it will also contribute to reducing the level of restiveness and militancy in the Niger Delta.
Sir.